welcome to day 64 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of September 1999, which was American Beauty.
Always with the stunning praise just from the first opening note.
I don't know, I think we should adopt it, like, the two of us should do this when, like, our turns come.
I feel like we kind of did, but just not as much. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I have, like, kind of a very specific opinion of this, but I want to hear you two first, basically.
First.
What do I even say?
I don't really know what to say. I feel
I
like...
don't really know. I didn't like any of the characters. Though I feel like
I think
maybe.
the only tolerable person was the daughter? Maybe?
In some points, yeah.
She, like, hated everyone else.
It was really creepy during some parts, too.
That's kind of how I feel about this whole movie. It's just, like,
Yeah,
really
it's
creepy.
just really creepy.
And just, like, it has weird undertones or overtones or whatever, and I was
actually
just very
find-
uncomfortable watching this.
Yeah, I feel like this was kind of more, like, creepy and uncomfortable than, the actual horror movie we watched last month.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I would definitely pick watching The Sixth Sense again. But the thing is that Pulp Fiction, which I guess is the first, we were talking about this, is like the first thing that I would think of, maybe, because Pulp Fiction had its... Pulp Fiction? Pulp Fiction has its, it has its own, like, weird sense of... I lost my train of thought. Ryan, what was the thing that you said about Pulp Fiction?
Oh,
This movie is... My brain hurts.
okay, I guess I'll try to remember what I said. I think I said something like, I get the appeal of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Because, like, even though I personally didn't, love the movie or anything like that, I could kind of understand what people might, like, pick out for it, and, like, I know typically...
And why it might be, like, memorable and sensational and everything.
Yeah, and, like, film students tend to, like, love film critics and film enthusiasts. They tend to love Pulp Fiction because of, like, how it's shot and how it's written and things like that, even though the content might not be for everyone, like, everyone's cup of tea, and it wasn't mine, but I was able to appreciate certain things about Pulp Fiction. This was, like, I wasn't really able to enjoy anything because all of the content was just so, like, creepy.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that, of course, like, one of the main plots is the father who wants to have sex with, a high school student.
Oh, yeah,
he's played by Kevin Spacey, so that doesn't help too much.
I remember I was saying that when he was, like, being really, like, he was creeping on her, I was like, oh yeah, so this is Kevin Spacey acting like himself.
Yeah,
except, like, with a woman instead of, like, a young boy instead.
So yeah, that doesn't help. I mean, I think we can all agree, at least in terms of, like, the objective qualities, whatever, it, like, did well. Like, the acting is done well in terms of, like,
the acting is
Yeah,
fine.
the acting is done well.
At least the writing, given the context, is fine, right? And, it's, like, there's some interesting shots. The music does, if you notice, kind of, like, directly link to what's going on in the plot and stuff like that. So again, like, the objective things, it's a well-made movie, but for me, it's kind of like, did I enjoy watching it?
Yeah.
And the answer is no.
Yeah.
I think that can go for all three of us.
Yeah, and... Because, okay, movies like this are hard, and, like, Pulp Fiction was kind of like this, where, again, like, every character is, like, kind of sucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I feel like that was the point, right? And so it's not like something like Dumb and Dumber where it's like, you know, oh, you're supposed to feel bad for the character and you don't, right? It's like, well,
Yeah.
I don't think you are, but at the same time it's like, so you could say, well, that's better, but that doesn't mean I like want to see it.
Yeah,
Right.
because then you don't really want to see it again, because why would you want to watch
You don't
these characters that you
have-
hate so much?
You don't
On
have an
screen again.
investment.
No.
There is no investment. There's no place to put your investment unless you're like, I don't know, very creepy or something, or maybe you sympathize with the daughter. I don't know.
Well, okay, so I remember
I don't-
you were saying, like, while we're watching this, like, I don't know, like, who would want to watch this, or, like, you know, what's the point, or
Yeah.
something like that. And I
Right,
said
like-
that I realized what the point was.
Okay.
So here's how I see it.
Okay.
This movie plays toward the people who are they're the stuck in the rut kind of guys. They don't feel like their life is worth it, and that they're just kind of like moping around and nothing's really exciting, and they feel, and then so this speaks that in a way because it's like, fuck it, do what you want.
Oh,
Right.
this goes into your thing, like what you mentioned for the Star Wars thing, where, or not the Star Wars thing, the Matrix thing, where it's like screw the system, kind of.
Yeah, and again, that's what I get from it, and especially for the themes presented here, and exactly how it relates to it, I really get this, like, sense that, again, this is speaking to those, like, people, and I don't want to classify it like this, because I know someone's going to get mad that I'm saying this, because they're going to be like, oh, I like the movie, and I'm not like that, but it makes me think of the guys who are alt-right.
Okay.
Because it
so-
makes them think, again, like, you know, the problem isn't me, the problem is the
Right.
system that I'm trapped in, and the law's against me, and I have to say fuck everyone and do my own thing, and it's not my fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I
And
kind of get where
Yeah.
you're coming
It's the
from with
underlying
that.
mentality of it, that nothing is my fault, I'm just a slave to this system that's made to screw me, and if, you know, again, they're specifically talking about, like, again, the guy who's all about the rules and the regulations or whatever is the military dad who, you know, hates gay people and stuff. And if there was a bad guy in the movie, it would be him, right?
Mm.
And so it's like, again, it's demonizing, and yeah, the guy's not a good dude, right? He's an asshole. So that makes sense that you would hate him, but like that's the movie's equivalent of the rules.
Yeah.
Right, and see, and again, at the very end of the movie, I guess I won't spoil it. I don't know. Anyway, that at the end, it's saying the rules win, right? You know what I mean? And it's saying you try to fight against the system. You know what I mean? And it's just like that theming, and I feel like so many people could take it the absolute worst way.
Like the most extreme case or
Yeah,
something.
and so I feel that almost. in
I
a
mean,
sense,
this
it's
guy was an
damaging.
extreme case. Look at him.
Well, again, but it could go even further, because, I mean, I'll say this, at least he didn't, you know, rape her, right? That's
That's
good,
good,
and,
yeah.
like, you know, but again, like, for example, also, it's like, the movie portrays that he's kind of living a shitty life.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand that, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that's shitty, it doesn't seem like is totally situational. A lot of it seems like this was kind of caused by him, right?
Yeah.
The fact
Yeah.
that he's in kind of
he
a
never
shitty marriage, the
expressed
fact that
himself,
he's
or he was never vocal.
yeah, the fact that he's in like a shitty marriage, and the fact that he doesn't really connect with his daughter. Well, okay, we don't see how that formed, so I
So
guess
it's
we
kind
don't
of-
know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like his fault, but he's not taking responsibility for it, and he's
Right.
blaming like the system and society for his problems, even though
Mainly
the problems...
his wife and everything, too.
Yeah.
Right, and again, I'm not saying that it's only his fault. It's not. I mean, everyone has their own fault in this,
Yeah,
right?
everyone has
Yeah.
like a contributing factor,
Right, but that's kind of
he's
the problem.
still not taking any responsibility on.
Well, no one's really taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And almost nobody does. And so that's the problem when you have a message that's, you know, I gotta be free of these rules of society, but the actual thing that's causing problems is you.
Yeah.
Right? You're the one making all the mistakes. So even though the movie's well made, and there are some scenes that are kind of nice, like, for example, the whole, like, the trash bag, like, floating in the wind, and that kind of, like, symbolism for that is kind of nice. And a few things like that. I just feel it just utterly fails in terms of the messaging. And that's
Yeah.
the whole point of the movie.
Yeah, it's not a message that I can get behind personally.
No, it's definitely not a message that, because it's a very creepy movie and everything, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's alright to have all these like weird. It's okay to do all the things that these characters did and everything, and it's
Yeah, like, I don't know, I feel like it's like, oh, go and like hook up with this teenager or something, or like go and hook up with your business rival. I can't.
No, and then like the neighbor, that relationship between the two neighbors, like the daughter and the son.
Yeah,
was
that
really
was
creepy. Yeah.
so
That was
creepy.
extremely creepy. And it's like he was videotaping her and everything. And
Yeah.
I was like, how is that like a good portrayal of a relationship?
And especially like well, again, and the problem is I can't hate it because again, just objectively it's made well, but then also there are like there's moments where it does kind of shine through. Like again, kind of the thing where his wife kind of comes home and they're like on the couch, and then you know she's like, "You're gonna spill beer on the couch," and he's like, "It's a fucking couch, right?" Like in that kind of scene, like I can understand that, right? I get the point of that. The point is saying like material things are material things. That's not ultimately what's most important. Okay, fine, right? That by itself would be fine, but again, that's just one piece, and if you take the context of the rest of the movie and also the characters, whatever all the characters are doing, and all this other stuff, it's just like, you know, the overall, again, this message could be portrayed in a way that is better, and is, I think, beneficial, but it doesn't work in this circumstance with these characters who are making these decisions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, I just... That's the thing. I could see it working for some people, but I'm just afraid that most of the people who would feel that this movie is, you know, empowering or speaking true or whatever, would take this absolutely the wrong way and go way too far.
Yeah.
Because, and I hate to sound like this, because sounding like this makes me sound like the bad guy, but, like,
No, I
there's kind
agree.
of a reason that some of the rules are the way they are. That doesn't mean they're all right. That doesn't mean there can't always be pushes and directions to any of them. Because, again, you should push against some stuff like that just to kind of maybe we do need to change, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
But you can't just say fuck it all.
You can't just go out and kill someone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because...
You can't, like, go and just cross the road willy-nilly. You might, like, cause an accident. You might, like, don't go rob a bank.
Yeah,
Things
because
like that.
again, like, I think that if you think of the main character, he comes off as totally selfish.
Yeah, basically.
Because he's not thinking about anyone else. He's saying, fuck it, I'm just doing it for me. And it's like, again, at the very end, he kind of comes around a little bit, right? So that was nice, but again, it doesn't make up for everything else,
No.
right? So that's kind of the problem. It's just like, I don't know, it doesn't...
He also
This
is
doesn't
very
work for me.
verbally abusive to his wife, too.
Well, yeah.
Which, yeah. I mean, again, as you mentioned, it's not like it's all his fault. It's everyone's fault. It's also the wife's fault, too, and she also cheated on him and everything. But just the part, because prior to that, he mentioned the whole divorce thing and how there were reasons why he would still get half or more than half the settlement because he never hit her or anything. And it's like, yes, but verbal abuse
That's not
is
all
also
that
a
there
thing,
is.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very clear that their marriage was not in a good place, and it's like, again, we don't 100% see this, but at the same time it's like, well, I mean, it's based on how we have seen it, it seems like it's your guys' fault that your marriage is the way it is. So therefore, you guys have to work together to fix it, or
Or break up.
or break up, right? Which is fixing it, basically, right? So, you know, but again, you can't just say, fuck it, I don't want to deal with it, because then it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just think fundamentally this movie just doesn't work. which again, it's kind of sucks because again, it is made well, and I do think there's a few good things in it, but yeah, it's I don't. Eh. And yeah, it is definitely creepy at points.
Especially with like the boy, like the neighbor
Dad and the
boy.
neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah, the dad and the neighbor. Those
Yeah.
two were
Like if I was being like kind of stalked by my neighbor and he was like filming me, I think I would probably call the police.
What, you wouldn't hook
Yeah.
up with him?
I'd be
Clearly,
like,
you're not
you wouldn't
realistic.
walk home with him all by
No.
yourself.
Copper, yeah, there's a potential stalker and or like murderer that lives next to me. I think you might want to like look into this. Maybe. Please,
Yeah, it's
please.
because one of the things that just is in general for me is like, especially when there's not like a specific consequence or the movie doesn't specifically treat it like something bad, if characters just make unrealistically shitty decisions,
Yeah.
I get disconnected. I can't, I can't get sucked
Yeah.
into that when I look at that situation and I'm like, no, that's the absolute worst thing to do.
Yeah.
Basically.
And that's what I felt like this entire movie was.
Just one big bad decision.
Right. Because again, like, I want to think back to like a movie that
And
I
it's
think.
not even for like a comedy purpose. Like,
Well, no, right. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I
Like-
think back to Higher Learning. If you remember
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and how characters made bad decisions, but you understood why in their scenario they would make those decisions.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
definitely.
You don't get that here. Or if you do, I don't know. I feel like the line's not quite there, where I definitely understood why the characters in Higher Learning would make those decisions, but here I just look at them and I'm just like, you brought this upon yourself,
Yeah, basically.
Stupid.
and yeah, you stupid. So,
Stupid.
so just yeah, there you go. I mean, I don't know.
This movie made my brain hurt so much.
Again, there's nothing again like objectively bad about it, so
No, it's just like the,
The content is-
characters and the content and then the tones. It's just
Yeah.
like it makes you not really want to watch this movie.
no, I
No.
mean, if you don't mind seeing kind of creepy, awkward things, it's not like bad to watch, and in a sense, again, maybe someone else who watches this, they could get something totally different that is a positive thing from it. I don't know, right? So I don't feel like I would say, no, don't watch this, it's not worth your time. I don't quite feel like that, but at the same time, I don't know, it's just, if someone asked, hey, should I watch this movie, I would be very hesitant to say yes, but I also don't feel like I would absolutely say no.
Mm.
But it would be like probably like a bunch of warnings and like, that at the end of the day say I didn't like it, kind of in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I don't know. Is there
No,
any...
I agree with that. Because
Okay.
I think most people probably look at it like it won Academy Awards, I think, or something.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
It's known. It's a known movie.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a known movie, so I'm sure people do see something in it. It's just that that's
Maybe
some-
like I completely missed the point, or like whatever other people see.
yeah,
I do
I don't know what,
That's kind of how I feel.
but I agree. Where I would just say I don't like this film. It's up to you whether or not you want to watch it, but be warned that this, and this are things that are prevalent throughout the film.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the recommendation verdict.
yeah.
I don't really know how to give a straight one, because like what Valen said, it's, I don't know. I would be inclined to say if you don't mind weird, creepy people, maybe, but I would probably advise not to, personally.
Yeah.
So.
It's not. I didn't feel like, at least this is from my perspective, and maybe you could disagree, but I didn't feel like it was a waste of time. And I wasn't like, it didn't like piss me off. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of the two things that are like how I would kind of judge a movie more so. So
Yeah.
again, I can't say like I hated it, or like I wouldn't say that I think it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's why this is kind of difficult to talk about in that way. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I am kind of curious because I know Nostalgia Critic made a video about this movie, and I know I watched it like when he first made that video, but that was like several years ago, and I don't remember it at all. And now I kind of want to see what he says about it. But yeah, because it, yeah. Shrug.
I guess on one final note that's completely unrelated to everything else that we said and everything, which I guess will be like the one highlight of this whole thing. The effects of the rose petals sucked.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was because it was weird, like the bathtub scene or whatever.
Yeah.
I think those were real.
I
And
don't
then when they
know.
were falling on his face or something.
Yeah,
like-
I
Yeah.
think that was real too. So
But the first one with when she
was like coming out of her thing, yeah, that was like, okay, that's really bad.
That was so weird.
That was like almost Blade bad. Like that was really bad. So again, yeah, because again, I feel like that's something like, couldn't they have done that practically? I don't know, like maybe not, but it looked distractingly bad. So that was,
Yeah.
yeah, that was.
It reminds me of those like teenage websites from like the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like Zanga.
Like what?
Zanga? Maybe you don't know
I
what
don't
Zanga
know.
is.
I don't know.
Wait, I don't know what Zanga is. I just remembered the websites and stuff and how you would go to different websites and like the rose petals would rain down from the screen with like a pale blue background and stuff.
Oh my god, yeah, I remember those.
But
I have
wait,
no
what
idea
is
you're
Zanga?
talking about.
Zanga is like I think some people might remember or know what it is. It's like I think it's kind of like the old Tumblr almost, except like you get your own domain and you don't have a dashboard. It's kind of like a blog hosting thing. I might be wrong.
I have no idea.
I guess it's sort of like a hipstery MySpace or something.
Is it
I think
still...
I think
I didn't
MySpace.
use it.
I think
I
right
didn't
now.
use it.
I think
Use
right
some.
now, MySpace is the hipster MySpace.
It's come full circle.
Yes.
If you want to be a hipster, go join MySpace again.
Isn't MySpace like not even... Isn't it a music platform thing now or something?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I still technically have my MySpace account.
I never had one.
I never had one either.
I barely used it even when I did have one, which was in 2006. So
I had a Neopets account in 2006.
I had I don't know. But,
Now you guys can figure out how old we are.
well, I mean, that's not hard to, considering the whole point of this.
Yeah.
True.
But
True.
whatever. We've been talking about this for like 25 minutes. We should probably stop.
Okay,
Yeah.
next movie we have no idea what's about, so.
No.
I will say this.
Yeah.
One movie that came out this next month
Mm.
that did not be that was not the highest grossing was Fight Club.
What?
Really?
So Fight Club came out October 1999,
What?
and this movie beat it.
Huh.
So I'm curious how that works. Now I haven't seen Fight Club, and
I've never seen it.
I kind of want to though.
I heard that it's good.
Yeah, even though from what little bit I do know about it, it might be a similar situation where like I think the message doesn't work. But again, I'd just be curious to see it.
Mhm.
So now I'm kind of wondering, well, shit, what did this movie do? Because again, I've never heard of this movie before. The title, I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
So it might be one of those things where, again, it was, well, it's like how Time Cop was the same month as The Shawshank Redemption. Right? And who the
That
fuck
hurts
knows
me.
about Time Cop anymore? You know what I mean?
That hurts.
So it might be something like that. But it's interesting to kind of see things like that. So we'll see how this movie goes. But yeah, so there's your little trivia fact of the day.
So we're not watching Fight Club.
We're not watching Fight Club.
You'll see what we're watching then.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.